Many thanks for joining us on the newsroom. I am Annetta Felix. The Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, has recovered the bodies of 2 children who died in a collapsed building at the Ogudu area of Lagos State. The incident occurred around 12:40 p.m. at number 46 Gafari Balogun Street, Ogudu area during a heavy rainfall. LASEMA Director General Femi Okeosaintolu said the agency received a distress call about a collapsed building at Ogudu. Unfortunately, 2 children, 1 male and 1 female, were trapped and later found dead. Other occupants of the house were reportedly injured as a result of the collapse. The building has now been cordoned off for integrity tests. Collapsed buildings and flood have come to be associated with the rainy season, as 80% of Nigeria is affected by flood disasters. Residents of Akobi Crescent in Surulere, Lagos are facing that exact challenge, with many unable to leave their homes due to the flood. The South African chapter of the All Progressives Congress has denied the death of its chairman, Bola Babarinde. Media reports had named Taye Abe as chairman of the APC chapter in South Africa, adding that he died at the age of 65. President Muhammadu Buhari had also sent a condolence message to Abe's family, friends and colleagues. But in a statement released on Thursday, the National Publicity Secretary of the APC South Africa chapter, Sunny David, clarified that its chairman is Bola Babarinde and not Taye Abe. He added that Bolarinde is still alive and healthy. The Inspector General of Police Monitoring Unit in Lagos State has detained Instagram celebrity and executive director of Cubana Group, Pascal Okechukwu, popularly known as Cubana Chief Priest. A police source said Cubana Chief Priest is facing interrogation for misusing police personnel, illegally using a weapon, and his, quote, extravagant and unexplained lifestyle, end of quote. Okechukwu arrived at the force headquarters annex in Lagos around 10 a.m. and was detained afterwards. Cubana Chief Priest is known to post pictures of himself in private jets and exotic cars to his 1.6 million followers on Instagram. Nigeria and 17 other countries have been elected by the United Nations General Assembly into the Economic and Social Council of the UN. On Wednesday in New York, the UNGA elected the new Economic and Social Council members to serve for 3 years with effect from January 1st, 2021. This will be Nigeria's 3rd time of serving in the important council since 2012. Other elected African countries are Madagascar, Liberia, Libya, and Zimbabwe. Let's take a break here to return with more updates on COVID-19 around the world.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
And wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the Go-To app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other Paper Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
587 new cases of COVID-19 has been recorded in Nigeria, pushing the nation's total COVID-19 toll towards the 18,000 mark in less than 4 months. In a tweet on Wednesday, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, stated that Nigeria has now confirmed at least 17,735 cases of the novel coronavirus. A total of 469 people have died from COVID-19 in Nigeria, and 5,967 patients have recovered. Nigeria is currently in the second phase of easing its lockdown restrictions, with worship centers expected to restart in certain states. President Muhammadu Buhari has lauded the efforts of the World Health Organization for its support to vulnerable countries in the fight against COVID-19. The president gave this remark while participating at the extraordinary China-Africa Summit on solidarity against COVID-19. The meeting was chaired by Chinese President Xi Jinping and was held via video conference on Wednesday.
The COVID-19 outbreak is a clear wake-up call for all of humanity. The health systems of many nations have been severely tested by the outbreak of this disease that most resorted to unprecedented executive measures of closing borders and locking down cities to restrict movements and commerce. The immediate socio-economic disruptions have been hard to cope with for many, and others suffered devastating effects. As we face a common pervasive and invisible enemy, it is important that we all remain united to save our shared humanity, because this virus knows no borders. The fight against a global pandemic that continues to take so many lives, threaten livelihoods, and challenging the very fabric of societies requires enhanced cooperation and worldwide solidarity. I therefore commend the United Nations Secretary General, His Excellency Antonio Guterres, for launching a COVID-19 response and recovery fund for low and middle-income countries to tackle the health emergency, address social and economic consequences of the crisis, and strengthen the recovery efforts of most vulnerable countries. I also commend the World Health Organization and its leadership, for whose advice Nigeria was able to take measures and enlighten its people on steps to take to avoid contracting and spreading the virus.
The World Health Organization has announced plans to coordinate a meta-analysis pulling data from several clinical trials to increase its understanding of dexamethasone. The Director General of the World Health Organization, TEDROS GHEBREYESUS, made this known at a recent media briefing on COVID-19 in Geneva. The DG added that the WHO will give directive on how the new drugs will be used to treat COVID-19.
Dexamethasone, a common steroid, has been shown to have a beneficial effect on those patients severely ill with COVID-19. According to early findings shared with WHO, for patients on oxygen alone, the treatment was shown to reduce mortality by about 1/5. And for patients requiring a ventilator, mortality was reduced by about 1/3. However, dexamethasone was shown to not have a beneficial effect for those with milder disease who did not need respiratory support. This is very welcome news for those patients with severe illness. These drugs should only be used under close clinical supervision. We need more therapeutics that can be used to tackle the virus, including those with milder symptoms. WHO has now started to coordinate a meta-analysis pooling data from several clinical trials to increase our overall understanding of this intervention. And we will update our clinical guidance to reflect how and when dexamethasone should be used to treat COVID-19. I want to thank the United Kingdom government, the University of Oxford, and the many hospitals, researchers, patients, and families who have contributed to this scientific breakthrough. WHO will continue to work with all partners to develop other therapeutics and vaccines for COVID-19, including through the Access to COVID-19 Tools Accelerator.
The president of Honduras, Juan Hernandez, has been admitted to a military hospital for pneumonia on Wednesday, a day after revealing he and his wife had tested positive for COVID-19. A health agency spokesman said Wednesday that Hernandez was receiving intravenous medicine. The health agency spokesman said 2 presidential aides also tested positive for COVID-19, but their status was not immediately clear. There are now 10,000 infections and 330 COVID-19 deaths in the Latin American country. Let's take a break here to bring you updates on business and more after this break. Out of the 1.8 trillion naira intervention fund so far injected into the power sector, Nigeria's electricity distribution companies say they only assessed 58 billion naira from the Central Bank of Nigeria's 213 billion naira loan facility. The DISCO said the 58 billion was being repaid monthly, adding that they never received any free money from the federal government. Sunday Odutan, the Executive Director, Research and Advocacy, Association of Nigeria Electricity Distributors and umbrella body of DISCOs, say the explanation was to correct the belief that power sector operators, including DISCOs, had received free 1.8 trillion naira from the federal government since the sector was privatized in November 2013. South Sudan's President Salva Kiir and his former rival, now the country's Vice President Riek Machar, have ended a stalemate over the selection of governors for the country's 10 regional states. The formula for allocation of states between the political camps has been a sticking point in the transitional unity government formed in February, with both eyeing control over the oil-rich states. A statement from Minister of Presidential Affairs on Wednesday confirmed that President Kiir and Machar met at the State House in the capital, Juba, and struck a deal. UEFA has advised that the 2020 summer transfer window should close no later than October 5th, 2020. In a number of European countries, including England, the transfer registration period has not yet opened because of the delay in finishing the season due to the COVID-19 pandemic. European football's governing body has set October 6th as the deadline for the registration of players to complete in the Champions League and European League group phase, and has therefore now recommended that the transfer window close the day before. And that's it on the newsroom. I am Annetta Felix. Thank you for watching.